Hey guys! Today we are going to make imposter cupcakes. We're using the recipe from the new Good Housekeeping cookbook. And we're just going to make vanilla cupcakes, and we're going to make one of them look like hamburgers and one of them look like spaghetti. We're going to start with some flour. We are going to sift the flour into the bowl because this creates a really fluffy cake. It helps keep it fluffier and break up all the lumps in the flour. If you want to, you can sift it again, but this is a pretty good fine sifter. So if you have a older sifter or one that you don't think works as well, you might want to sift it a couple times just to be sure. So now we're going to add in our baking powder and our salt. So you want to add in baking powder, not baking soda, and we're gonna put that through the sifter as well. Okay, so now that we've got that, we should have all the dry minus the sugar in here, and you're just gonna mix all of that up together, and now you're going to set it aside so we can start on the wet mixture. Okay, so now we're gonna do the wet ingredients and the sugar. So if you have your butter, you might want to soften it just a little bit. So let's do that. Here we go. It's a little bit softened. And what you're gonna want to do is cream that. So just kind of mix it up a little bit so it's not as chunky. You can use a mixer for this, or you could just use some old elbow grease. Mix it up. Now we're going to add in our sugar. And one of the most important things when making a cake is to cream your butter and your sugar, because it just makes a nice mixture with it, and it creates a nice base. Okay, so now we're going to add in our vanilla. Use a little bit of flavor, plus this is a vanilla cake. Our milk. And we're going to mix that up. It might look a little bit weird, but that's the sugar and butter reacting with the extra liquid. And now we're going to add in the egg. So what we're going to want to do is get a little container. And we want to separate one of the eggs. So you're going to take your egg. We did this in another video. And did this in the macaron video. And we're going to keep the yolk in one side and then transfer it to the other side. And then just keep doing that until you get most of the whites out. And this time, we're putting the yolk in, not just the whites. The whites can dry out a cake, So a trick to make your cake moister is to separate one of the whites and only use the yolk in one of the eggs. So we're using 3 eggs, so we're taking the white away from one of the eggs. The rest of them just put in the whole thing. And mix it up. Now we're going to add in our dry, some heaping spoonfuls at a time. So we're going to put 2 of those in. And now you're going to mix it up. There you go. Should look something like this and have a nice texture to it. Most of the lumps, it looks like, should have gone away, but if there are any, that is the butter. It's nothing to worry about. It will bake out and make it moist. But we're not finished yet. We're going to add in about 1/4 cup of oil. We're using vegetable oil, and this helps make it moist and fluffy. So let's grab that. And don't worry, this will not make your cake oily. You don't taste it, and it won't really affect the texture. All it's going to do is make it moister and fluffier, which are qualities that you do want. So let's mix this up. If the top looks a little bit oily, that's good. It's supposed to do that. The oil is supposed to do that. Just make sure you get it mixed up. It shouldn't look like it has like a skin of oil on top. And there you have it. You have your batter done. So now we need to fill our muffin tins, and this should make about 24. Okay, so since these are hamburger ones and we're not going to be using the cupcake in the wrapper, we are going to take just plain white ones, plain white wrappers. There we go. And I've got my lovely scooper here, and that's going to help us get an even amount into each pan. So you're gonna take this, clean it on the side, and then scoop it into there. And that gives you a nice even amount, and it'll give you a nice cupcake with a top on it. So let's fill the rest of these up. Okay, so we got most of this out of here, and looks like it's made about 18. So we're gonna take these and we're gonna fill them with water, and I'll be back when these are done baking for about 15-ish minutes. Okay, so what I've done is I've taken butter, while this is baking and while it's cooling, we're taking butter, sugar, and then some food coloring and cocoa powder, and we're gonna make some buttercream for the topping. So the ratio is 1 cup of butter to 1 cup of sugar to a stick of butter, which is half a cup. And so we're going to whip this and gradually add the sugar while this is on a lower speed. I'll come back when I'm finished with the buttercream and then we'll dye it. Okay, so now we're going to color these, except for this one. This one's just gonna stay this color for the spaghetti. Here we go. You might have to make more frosting. That's okay. You can probably make another 1.5 cups of it if needed. But this is gonna be used for little cake balls. Then we're going to dye this one green for the lettuce. This is gonna be brown. And then this one is going to be red for tomatoes. So we're going to take some cocoa powder to dye it brown. Just gonna take a bit, mix that in there. And the chocolatier, you want it to be, the more you can add in. If it gets too thick, you can add a few drops of milk to it, and that'll thin it out. Keep mixing it. It'll also make it a little bit darker, maybe. There's that. And now let's get these out of the oven, and I'll come back when these are colored and those are cooling. Okay, so now that these are cooled and out of the oven, I've taken one and I've cut off the bottom and I've cut off the top. So we have the dome for the top of the bun and then the flat part for the bottom. And now what I've done, I've taken our chocolate buttercream and just kind of made a little cake ball out of extra cake that we cut out of the middle. And we're gonna put this on the bottom, just kind of flatten it out so it looks like a hamburger bun, a hamburger patty, sorry. And if you want, you can add a little bit more into it. That's gonna be our patty. Then we're gonna take some green buttercream and spread it over this. That's going to be our lettuce. Then some red. And that's going to be tomato. And then just kind of trim this down a little bit if you have to. And this is our top bun. And there's a hamburger. And if you want to add on the top, you can take some little black Napoleons or any really kind of sprinkles and just kind of put them on top, and there's your sesame seeds. They don't really stick that well, but if you put any bit of icing on top, you can get them to stick. And there's your little hamburger. So I'm going to make the rest of these, and then I'll show you how to make the spaghetti. Okay, so now I'm going to make the spaghetti cupcake. So we're going to take some tan buttercream and some other cake ball mixture, and then you're going to take, well, we'll figure out what we're going to use for the sauce later. I'm still debating between strawberry jam and some red buttercream. So we're going to take this with a very thin tip, and you're just going to go all over with it. And then you're going to take some of the cake ball material and just make little meatballs for it. Tiny one. And if you want, you can put just a little bit more on, and then when I add the sauce at the end, it'll look a bit more like spaghetti. So let me just ice all these, and then I'll be back and we can put on the sauce. So I decided to use a strawberry blackberry kind of compote for the sauce. It was actually my dad's idea because we had tried some buttercream and it didn't look very good, and the jelly was too sweet for it. And this was really nice, and it gave it some texture as well. So there you have it. We have spaghetti and meatball cupcakes and hamburger cupcakes. So here are your food imposters.